Hi, my name is Abbey Abueznaid, and this presentation is about slavery in Texas and Alabama. For a quick introduction, I thought it would be interesting to compare the totals between slaves bought in two of the most southern states in the time preceding the U.S. Civil War. A brief definition of abstraction in my own words would be a way to express enough information about a real-world entity to answer whatever is in question about said entity through a brief synopsis providing fundamental characteristics. For further clarification, this project extracts the real-world entity of slavery sales from buyers in Alabama and buyers in Texas from 1856 to 1861. The state of origin key is a string value that represents which state each buyer is from. The data structure on the right shows the entire data map from this set's variable explorer. The number of slaves purchase key is an integer value located within the transaction key, along with the key's number of child sales and number of adult sales, also integer values. The state of origin key is a string value which is associated with the buyer key. The first question answered in this presentation is how do totals for slavery transactions compare between buyers from Texas and buyers from Alabama? The visualization on the right shows the differences between slave transactions involving buyers from Texas and buyers from Alabama. There are over 40 transactions between the two states. Buyers from Texas often purchase multiple slaves at one time. However, there are less transactions involving buyers from Alabama, and usually only one or two slaves would be bought at once. The second question answered in this presentation is how do totals for children bought by buyers from Texas compare to children bought by buyers from Alabama? The visualization on the right shows that of the 40-plus transactions, few of them involved children. Buyers from Texas and Alabama both purchased 6 child slaves, but the number of transactions involving children in the two states differed. Whereas Texas had a spread out number of transactions, many of the children bought in Alabama were purchased in one transaction. The third question answered in this transaction is how do totals bought by buyers from Texas compare to buyers from Alabama? The visualization shows that Texas had far more transactions involving adult slaves than Alabama did. People from Texas purchased more than 43 adult slaves in the time accounted for, along with a steady trend of transactions involving one adult slave, whereas people from Alabama only purchased roughly 43 adult slaves total. The limitations of this project are that the sales differences between specific counties cannot be determined. The age of slaves sold will not be available, and the names of the sellers, buyers, and slaves will not be available. Stakeholders who could be concerned with this abstraction are historians concerned with background of slave sales and Americans concerned with their families' involvement in slave sales. Potential conflicts between stakeholders include families with ancestors on both sides of transactions having natural tension.